Hey friends, tonight we're diving headfirst into the wildly over-the-top world of ancient Egyptian royalty. Imagine being born into the most powerful job on earth and still being told you're doing it wrong. From marrying within the family to carrying the weight of the son's daily commute, being Pharaoh wasn't exactly the dream gig. Before we get started, hit that like button if you enjoy this kind of storytelling, and let me know in the comments where you rewatching from and what time it is there. It's always awesome to see how global this little community is. Now, lower the lights, maybe turn on a fan for some cozy background noise, and get ready to time travel. The Pharaoh is born. Congratulations, you've just been born ... into chaos. While most newborns are crying and flailing around you, you're being wrapped in sacred linens, examined by priests, and hailed as a living god. No pressure. You're not just a baby, you're a state event. Astronomers are checking the stars, sacred animals are acting weird in your honor, and somewhere a very serious man is already chiseling your name into stone like you were going to read it someday. The room is tense, but not because you're delicate. It's because you're the next incarnation of Horus, the god of kingship. That means every hiccup could be seen as a cosmic warning. Childhood? Yeah, you can forget about that. Godhood isn't playtime toys. Nope. You get ceremonial objects you're not allowed to drool on. Instead of lullabies, you're serenaded with religious hymns sung by elderly priests who smell like incense and existential dread. Your golden crib, cold and rigid. Your caretakers? Not there to cuddle, they're there to make sure you survive long enough to fulfill divine expectations. Your milk might as well be laced with duty. And ask for your first words? Let's just say the palace PR team probably has a script ready. Oh, and if you get too friendly with another toddler, that's a future threat to the throne. Better keep it formal. Raised to rule before you can crawl. From the moment you can hold a stick, you're being trained not for fun, but for pharaohing. Education, image control, marriage alliances, all of that starts before you've even lost your baby teeth. And yes, you'll probably marry your cousin or your sister, or your half-sister's cousin's niece. Royal family trees were ... complicated. Meanwhile, you're being taught that the sun quite literally rises because of you. Sounds cute until it doesn't. If it rains too little or too much, people might blame you. So you thought being born a living god came with perks? Your day starts before the stars have clocked out. You ring out greeted by a sweet nanny with warm milk queue, re-greeted by a steward holding a golden checklist. Today's to-do list: learn sacred languages, memorize the correct number of blinks during a cucumber blessing ritual, and practice pretending to enjoy all of it. Nap time? That's not on the schedule. The royal curriculum, first up, reading and writing hieroglyphs. These aren't just cute bird pictures, they're government policy in emoji form. One wrong squiggle, and congratulations, you've just cursed a village or doomed someone to eternal torment. Try explaining that in detention. Next, it's religion class. You're drilled on every god's name, how to present an offering with the right posture, and the number of ceremonial nods required per blessing. Mess up, and a priest gives you that look like you've just offended the entire pantheon. Again, school, but with higher stakes, then comes math. But not to balance a checkbook, oh no. You relearning geometry to figure out how to stack over 2 million limestone blocks into a perfect triangle. Because one day, someone's going to ask, hey kid, how do we build a pyramid that doesn't fall over? No pressure. Oh, and let's not forget military strategy. You're 10 years old, still scared of loud noises. But you're being taught how to lead armies, cross rivers, and smite your enemies casually, of course. You're also the weatherman now. Alongside all this, you're taught the concept of cosmic balance. Sounds beautiful, right? In practice, it means you're personally blamed for droughts, crop failures, or if someone drops a jar of honey during flood season. Also, you're expected to master public speaking. The thing is, you don't just give speeches, you deliver divine proclamations. Say the wrong word and grain prices might spiral. Say it with the wrong inflection, and now people think Ra is angry. Oops, tutors or spies, why not both? Your tutors aren't just teachers. They're also informants. Every lesson is a test, and every answer you give might end up in a scroll labeled signs of trouble. Show too much independence. You're a threat? Question a ritual? That's borderline heresy. Complain about the incense? Someone's writing that down. By bedtime, your brain is stuffed with sacred geometry, suspicious glances, and enough religious pressure to make a thunderstorm feel like a performance review. Royal childhood, more paranoia than playdates. Not so friendly friends. Most kids grow up with friends who trade snacks and dodge homework. You're stuck in a royal daycare full of political chess pieces disguised as children. That boy who races you through the garden. High Priest's son, the one who always wins at board games. Nephew of a powerful general. And that girl you actually like talking to. Already promised to your cousin for dynastic stability. Your playground isn't a safe space, it's a training ground for future betrayals. Everyone plays nice because you're sacred, but they also watching because one wrong move and suddenly your buddy is next in line for your throne. Your childhood is a surveillance state. There's no such thing as privacy. If you disappear for more than 10 minutes, someone's alerting the royal guard. You're not allowed to explore because exploring is suspicious. Fun is suspicious. Even being alone is kind of suspicious. And every interaction is documented. Did you smile too long at that noble's daughter? Boom rumors of your early engagement. Asked to play with a cousin? Now there's a scroll titled Potential Signs of Favoritism and Treason. How to survive royal networking, so what do? You become charming, polite, and so politically neutral it's almost boring. You give compliments you don't mean. You laugh at jokes you don't understand. You learn to make every kid feel equally special even when you'd rather be left alone with your ceremonial duck toy. Why? Because if someone feels left out, their family might try to poison your breakfast. This isn't childhood. It's PR training. And everyone you know is either a future rival, an informant, or worst case scenario, your eventual in-law. Congratulations, you're divine now. Panic. Eventually, the priests confirm it. You're not just royalty anymore. You're Horus on Earth certified. That means every step you take is sacred. Every sneeze is a divine message. And every mistake must be explained in a way that doesn't imply the gods themselves slipped up. But surprise. You still get pimples, stub your toe, and get weird stomach aches from too many dates. Because here's the cosmic contradiction, you're a literal god with acid reflux. The talk, but way worse, so you've survived royal childhood. You've memorized 19 ways to bless a squash, smiled through betrayal, and learned to wield a ceremonial scepter without crying. Now it's time for your advisors to hit you with ... scroll. Congratulations, young Pharaoh. You're old enough to pick a bride, preferably your sister, excuse me. Keeping it in the family ... Literally. In ancient Egypt, keeping the bloodline pure meant one thing: marrying someone who already shares your family tree and probably your jawline. Romantic compatibility, never even part of the equation. Your aunt, your cousin, your half-sister, all fair game. The gods are apparently cool with this. The geneticists of the future, not so much. The logic is simple. You're divine. She's divine. And nothing screams holy legitimacy like marrying someone who once stole your toys and shared your wet nurse. Weddings with a side of existential dread. Meanwhile, palace gossip is in overdrive. Court officials are basically playing who's the least related like it's a game show. Priests are thrilled. Servants are placing bets. And you're retrying very hard not to visibly panic at the thought of calling your cousin beloved. But wait, it gets weirder. Because it's not just about marriage, it's about heirs. Yes, you're still figuring out your own skincare routine, but now everyone expects you to produce the next Pharaoh ASAP. No pressure. Just the entire future of Egypt riding on your teenage hormones. Love is irrelevant. Appearances are everything. This isn't about falling in love. It's about looking like divine order is continuing. You're paraded through temples, praised for your fertility, and shown off with your new bride who, again, may also be your niece, in private. You might feel gross, confused, maybe like running into the desert to scream into the wind. But you can't. That would be unstable. So instead you nod, you wave, you eat the ceremonial figs, and you tell yourself it's all for the realm. Because apparently, royal puberty isn't about discovering who you are. It's about pretending none of this is weird. Divine power and constant blame, the god everyone blames. Now that you're Pharaoh, you're worshipped. Statues are built in your honor. People chant your name. Priests bow when you walk by. But here's the catch. The moment something goes wrong, anything at all, everyone looks at you. Too much rain. You're imbalanced. Not enough rain. You angered the gods. Bad harvest. Clearly, you didn't wave incense hard enough last Tuesday. Even stubbed toes are somehow your fault. You're not just king, you're the universe's tech support. Pharaoh isn't just a political title. You're also the head priest, the chief weather consultant, and part-time celestial quality control officer. If the sun rises late, it's not the clouds. It's that you forgot to say a chant properly, in the right direction, with enough sacred oil. And if you ever admit you don't know what's going on, WEL, I don't know, isn't a thing divine beings are allowed to say. You either fake it with confidence or invent a new ritual on the spot and pretend it's ancient. Even your dreams aren't safe. That dream, that's a cosmic message. Astrologers rush in, scribbling prophecies and demanding the construction of a new temple to calm your subconscious. Wake up with a headache. Someone sacrifices a goat just in case. Sneeze twice in one day. They're building an emergency obelisk before lunch. Everything you do becomes a sign, a symbol, or a potential national emergency. And if things really fall apart, if disaster strikes, famine, plague, crocodile uprising, people don't say nature is wild. They say, Pharaoh must be weak. Or worse, maybe we need a new Pharaoh. Suddenly, that guy with the suspicious smile and too many cousins starts looking like a backup plan. So while you sit on your golden throne, dripping with symbolism and ceremony, a quiet part of your brain is always asking, are they building me a new monument? Or digging my replacement's tomb? Your morning routine, crying is not included. Start your day like a deity. For most people, mornings start with a stretch and maybe a cup of something warm. For you, mornings begin with ritual chanting, clouds of incense, and a team of priests silently judging your sleep posture. Before breakfast, you're already halfway through a ceremony. Sacred spa day? More like ice bath. Your first task is purification. Not the fun spa kind. This is cold water from a sacred pool that hits harder than reality. You're basically half awake, half frozen, and already expected to carry the fate of the cosmos on your freshly shivering shoulders. Then it's straight into wardrobe, not because you're indecisive, but because your outfit has to be spiritually blessed, pre-folded, and possibly ironed with moonlight. Wardrobe of the gods, comfort of a rock. You're not slipping into sweatpants. You're layering up with 30 pieces of ceremonial linen, a falcon-shaped chest plate, and sandals made of papyrus that scream. I hope you didn't want arch support. Everything you wear has meaning. Everything you touch has ritual weight. And every second, someone is watching, and now ... The ritual gauntlet begins. Time to head into the temple. You're met by a priest holding a scroll the size of a carpet, outlining exactly how to perform the sacred movements of the day. Hand here, not there. Whisper the secret name of a god. Don't mess up the syllables or someone's blaming you for the Nile not flooding. You're basically doing interpretive dance with cosmic consequences. You are the star of the show, whether you like it or not. These ceremonies aren't short. Some take hours. And the entire time, you're not allowed to show you're tired, hungry, or even slightly bored. You can't ask, do we really need to bless all 43 statues today? You can't even yawn. Because this isn't just worship, it's a full-on national performance, and you're the headlanger. Priests chant, scribes take notes. Onlookers nod like they understand the spiritual significance of your arm movements. You're just trying not to pass out in your holy sandals. And that's just the morning. By the time the sun actually rises, you're already halfway through your second ritual and still haven't ruled anything yet. No policies, no decisions. Just sacred pageantry and the occasional silent panic. Trust no one. The Pharaoh's guide to staying alive. The crown comes with paranoia. You're the most powerful person in Egypt, in theory, in practice. You're surrounded by people who smile during the day and sharpen knives at night. Your guards. Loyal until someone offers them enough goats, gold, or spiritual favors. Your advisors. Constantly nodding while subtly reminding you that your cousin is very popular with the military. Even your cupbearer, a little too enthusiastic every time he hands you a drink. Like he wants you to notice how definitely not poisoned it is. The family that plots together, and don't get started on your family. You're not surrounded by loved ones. You're surrounded by applicants for your throne. Brothers, uncles, half-uncles, cousin-nephews, all with suspiciously well-connected friends and a fondness for accidental balcony pushes. They're not asking how you're doing. They're watching for a sign of weakness like a vulture in eyeliner. The royal playbook for not dying, you adapt. You develop habits. Randomize your daily routine. Rotate your servants. Never sleep in the same room twice. And always keep a ceremonial dagger under your pillow, next to your half-trusted guard rehearsing his humi. This, you can't relax, not ever, because relaxation gets Pharaohs embalmed. The performance must go on, but the worst part? Pretending you don't know any of this. You have to stay calm, poised, divine. Because if you look scared, even for a second, it signals weakness. And weakness? That's blood in the water. Every smile might be a test. Every compliment could be bait. And the moment you let someone in could be the moment they let your enemies in. Being Pharaoh wasn't about ruling. It was about outlasting everyone else. Forget issuing royal decrees. Your real job? Staying alive long enough to matter. And no, you're not paranoid. If anything, you're not paranoid enough. Public appearances, sweat, statues, and stage fright, a god on parade. Whether you want to be or not so, you've made it through morning rituals and another round of not being poisoned. Time to relax? Nope. Now you've got to stand in a chariot, dripping in gold, waving at thousands of people who either love you, fear you, or just showed up for the free bread. You're not attending a celebration. You are the celebration, and it's exhausting. You're fit. Symbolism over comfort. Today's outfit includes a ceremonial headdress that traps heat like a spiritual sauna, linen robes that cling like wet papyrus jewelry that doubles as ankle weights, and sandals that offer the support of, well, none at all. Every piece you wear carries cosmic meaning. One wrong color, and people start whispering that you've upset the gods. One wardrobe malfunction, and it's political instability in high definition. Smile like you mean it now. You walk. You wave. You bless sacred cows. You cut ribbons with a golden knife. You mutter holy phrases like, "May the gods bless your grain harvest," while desperately trying not to pass out in a leopard skin sash. If you stumble, people panic. If you look tired, someone reads it as a sign of the coming apocalypse. Miss one ceremonial goose blessing, suddenly rumors of a drought. Even festivals are just fancy work days. The festivals sound like fun on paper. Music, banquets, dancing. In reality, you're attending a party where you can't eat, can't sit, can't move to the rhythm, and have to pretend to enjoy a religious play in which someone else plays you. And you still don't get any lines. It's not a celebration, it's national theater. And you're the star performer in every act. At the end of the day, you limp back to your palace exhausted, overheated, spiritually drained, and still expected to smile like you just had a great time. Because when you're Pharaoh, showing discomfort is heresy. And pretending you're having a sacred moment while secretly cooking inside your golden outfit, that's just another day on the job. The priests, Egypt's spiritual bureaucrats, God on earth, sure, but not without permission. You wear the crown. You bless the grain. People literally bow when you blink. But behind every gesture, every ritual, every official scroll is a priest making sure you're doing it correctly. Because while you're the face of divinity, they're the ones writing the script. Temples, more than just prayer halls, the temples. Not just places to worship. They're banks, tax offices, schools, and spiritual spin factories, all run by priests in robes who know more about your public image than your own mother. They control the grain supply, the gold flow, the festival schedules, and the interpretation of whether that sneeze you had was a blessing or a political disaster. Mess with them, and suddenly Ra is disappointed in you. Again, old men in robes, ... or political sharks. Don't be fooled by their hymns and incense. These guys are spiritual CEOs. Each temple is its own empire, and the high priest, think of him as a divine middle manager who can cancel your entire god status with one sacred revelation etched into a temple wall. And here's the kicker. Temples don't pay taxes. They re-raking in wealth under holy immunity while your royal treasury has to start wars just to stay funded. Some of those golden jackal statues? Yeah. They probably have better retirement plans than your generals. They serve you ... technically. To your face, they say, "We live only to serve your divine will, O Pharaoh." Behind your back, they're rewording your divine will to better match their quarterly goals. One bad move, and the next morning, a scroll appears on a temple door that says, "The gods have chosen another." Surprise. Checkmate with incense, you can't rule Egypt without them. But trust them too much, and you become a ceremonial mascot for their agenda. It's a constant game of cosmic chess, where the incense always smells a little like passive aggression. Family ties and fatal vibes, surviving your royal bloodline. Welcome to the real war zone. Your family tree, outsiders think your enemies are foreign invaders. Wrong. Your actual battlefield? Sunday dinner with your extended family. A gathering of half-brothers, cousins, power-hungry uncles, and mysterious nephews who all believe they should be Pharaoh, preferably by breakfast. They smile in public, plot in private, and treat palace halls like an Olympic arena of ambition. Succession, the Bloodsport edition. Unlike some monarchies, Egypt didn't exactly have a firstborn gets everything policy. No, succession here was survival of the sneakily fittest. The one who made it to the throne wasn't the oldest. It was the one who avoided poison, gathered enough priestly backing, and didn't trip down a suspiciously waxed staircase. Half the court tries to guess your heir. The other half tries to sabotage him, your kids. Groomed like show ponies, even your own children aren't safe from the drama. Each one is raised like a contestant on Who Wants to Be Immortalized in Stone. They've got competing tutors, private advisors, whispering mothers who hint the gods always choose the most charming heir. And then there are the queens, yes, plural. Your wives, often living under one elaborately perfumed roof, form political factions tighter than modern party lines. They smile during festivals and stage silent power plays behind the curtains. Look at the wrong wife the wrong way, and suddenly your food taster is on vacation, and no one will touch the pomegranate platter. Death doesn't end the drama. Even funerals are political. Every death is suspicious, every illness, potential poisoning. Cough twice at a banquet, and the temple gossip mill explodes. And your legacy? Totally fair game. Your loyal son might finish your pyramid, and then immediately start chipping away at your name to make his own bigger. Because nothing says thanks, Dad, like carving you out of history. Palace life equals beautiful cage full of aspiring usurpers. At any moment, someone who knows your favorite wine, your childhood nickname, and your daily routine could be your downfall. And that's what made being Pharaoh so isolating. You weren't surrounded by family. You were surrounded by contenders with matching last names and secret scrolls. Death of a god, mummies, tombs, and eternal stress. You've died, but don't relax yet. After a lifetime of rituals, backstabbing relatives, and gold-infused migraines, you finally die. You'd think that earns you a little peace, right? Nope. In Egypt, being dead just means it's time to start your second career as a full-time spiritual icon and part-time horror movie prop. The ancient Egyptian post-mortem to-do list. Step 1, disassemble you. Your organs are removed, sorted, and packed into adorable jars guarded by animal-headed deities. Your brain? Hooked out through your nose like unwanted leftovers. Not because it's useless, just because tradition. Then you're stuffed with linen, resin, and enough salts to season the Nile. By the end, you look less like a former king and more like a sacred raisin wrapped in a designer napkin. The royal nesting doll treatment, but wait, there's more. You're placed inside not one, but multiple coffins, each fancier than the last. It's like luxury luggage, but for eternity. Outside, gold leaf, sacred spells, and illustrations of you heroically defeating evil with a crook and flail while sweating in linen. Inside, you, probably still digesting the royal figs from last week. The tomb, half mausoleum, half bragging rights. Now it's time for your final home, the tomb. You've spent half your life and half your kingdom's wealth building this thing walls covered in spells, prayers, and poorly drawn enemies getting smote. It's an architectural flex meant to scream, I am immortal. But unfortunately, it also screams, rob him. Despite all the curses, guards, and fake passages, most pharaoh tombs were looted within decades, sometimes even before the final hymn finished. So while your priests are chanting your name to the stars, local tomb raiders are sprinting off with your gold-plated flip-flops. And here's the real twist. In Egyptian belief, if your name is forgotten, your soul vanishes. If your tomb is defaced or your mummy ends up in a museum gift shop 3,000 years later, no afterlife for you. So now you're spiritually stuck trapped in some cosmic HR department because a bored noble decided to rebrand the dynasty. Immortal? Maybe misplaced? Definitely. You might have ruled a kingdom, built temples, and survived multiple assassination attempts. But if your sarcophagus ends up under fluorescent lights while tourists mispronounce your name, your legacy is reduced to a QR code and a museum brochure. Pharaoh at war, divine armor, real fear. You're the pharaoh. It's your job to go to war. You are the head of state, the commander-in-chief, the living god of war. You lose. The priest's gotta write a scroll about how this was part of Ra's greater strategy. You gotta post for carvings where you're defeating enemies twice your size, build monuments with inscriptions like, "He who smites without blinking," and stack severed hands to prove how many foes you crushed. Subtlety is not a thing when you're a god. And if you run away, you gotta start digging your own tomb real fast. And somehow you're expected to lead armies into battle without breaking a sweat. No generals. You don't get to send those guys while you chill in a palace. Nah. You gotta right out front, be like, rah rah, crush my enemies. While the other side is like, are sending their king. Let's hope our archers are better than theirs. And you're terrified, but you can't show it. Because if Pharaoh shows fear, that's a cosmic red flag. You win, you get loot, prisoners, and 200 jars of barley no one asked for. Even when you win, there's no rest for the wicked. But what if you didn't want to go to war? Too bad. Your generals want glory, your advisors want land, and the priests just got a vision from Horus saying it's smiting season again. So you're going back out, even if you're tired, wounded, or just want to bless a fig tree in peace. Because if you didn't fight, you'd look weak. And weak pharaohs don't get remembered. They get replaced, usually by a cousin who already commissioned his victory obelisk. You did it all. You ruled with power. You blessed the crops, built temples, crushed your enemies, and even died dramatically in a golden box surrounded by incense. But your legacy, that's out of your hands. And while you might think of it as one of history's craziest, most glorious civilizations, the ancient Egyptians thought of it as normal, just the way things were. You could have had your name carved onto every obelisk from Thebes to Giza, but all it takes is one ambitious great-nephew with a chisel. So your successors had a strong incentive to, shall we say, reframe history, that crushing military defeat. Yeah, they'll call it a symbolic cleansing ritual. That awkward cousin marriage, divinely orchestrated bloodline sanctification. And if you tripped over a cat during a public ceremony, don't worry, they'll leave that part out. You were the living embodiment of divine order, the son of Ra, the lord of the two lands, the one who brought peace to the kingdom and prosperity to the people. And now you're Rhea's skeleton in a humidity-controlled glass box, forever being asked if you re-king Tut. Great. Just put me back in the dirt. Probably. And suddenly your statues are headless, your name is erased. And your victories are reassigned to someone who ruled for 6 minutes and wore too much eyeliner. And if you aren't careful, he might be your successor. And it wouldn't be the first time this happened. So when you died and your viziers started writing your biography, you probably assumed your greatness would echo through eternity. But what if it doesn't? What if you get erased? You see, you ruled an ancient Egyptian kingdom. First up, we have the problem of your successors. This wasn't just pettiness. In ancient Egypt, being forgotten meant eternal spiritual death. No name, no afterlife. Just cosmic voicemail forever. But let's say they didn't erase you completely, they still might rewrite you. History is written by the guy who outlived you, but you might take comfort in knowing that your tomb is your eternal home. No one will disturb your final resting place. No one except the grave robbers, or that one time a museum curator looking for a cool new exhibit, or that one time a group of bored teenagers dared each other to break in, or that one time a vengeful god decided to make a point. Because in the end, you were a god. Now you're a fun fact. Tourists mispronounce your name. Bloggers rate your pyramid against others, and someone on YouTube says your curse caused a haunted toaster. So great. The year is 3000 BC, and the place is Egypt. Someday, you will rule all of Egypt. They will call you Pharaoh. The sun god Ra has chosen you. You are his son. If you don't learn your lines, they throw them out the window. You watch them die on the street below. You don't get to decide what you wear. He's not your brother, even though he shares your blood. He's your best friend, the only one who understands the burden of being special, the burden of being different. You perform for him. You write him poetry. He paints your portrait. You can't kick a soccer ball. You can't even bury your dog. You can't. So you endure. You rule. You survive. Your entire kingdom blames you if the weather is bad. They forget your name. They forget your face. They forget you existed, but you are immortal. But you hold the center because someone had to. You don't remember the last time you looked at the sky without an audience. You don't remember the last time you laughed without an audience. You don't remember what it feels like to be alone. You etch your name into stone, into scrolls, into the myths people still whisper thousands of years later. You aren't allowed to cry. There is no time for grief. There's no time for anything except performance. And shipped across continents, you still live on in textbooks, in temples, in documentaries, in internet jokes. You are the blueprint for power, myth, and cosmic anxiety. And that's more immortality than most gods ever get. You are the universe's actor in residence, playing the same role every single day. Priests dress you in fine linen, cover you in gold. When you are very little, the weight is unbearable. Later, the weight becomes a burden. From the time you can walk, the priests are watching you. You are trained, guarded, and worshipped. You have tutors. Your sneezes, your sentences, every move you make is a performance. You perform for the gods. You perform for the priests. You perform for the people. They smile and cheer. Only when you look away do they show their true faces. They hate you. They despise you. They judge you. They blame you for everything, including the fact that Ra, the sun god, hasn't shown his face in weeks. You have no privacy. It is lonely at the top of Mount Divine Expectation. At least you have Akhenaten by your side. It's a golden cage because gold is the color of divinity. No one can touch you, but you can't touch anyone. Being Pharaoh isn't liberation. It's a cosmic responsibility. You wake up every morning and you perform. You put on the mask of Ra. You put on the mask of the great god king. The mask is heavy. Underneath the mask, you itch, you sweat, you stink. The mask is always the wrong size. Sometimes it's too tight. Sometimes it's too loose. The Pharaoh isn't just a title, it's a cage of gold. You attend banquets, but you never eat. You open gifts, but you never read them. You walk through the marketplace, but you never buy anything. People stare at you. They want to reach out and touch you. They want to buy your attention. They want to be part of your story. They want you to remember their names. And you are the most powerful person on earth, but you can't build a Lego set. But how can you quit when you're the leading man? How can you quit when millions of lives depend on you? Your family tries to kill you. Your priests manipulate you. You have everything and you have nothing. In the end, it doesn't matter. You perform until the curtain falls. You perform until the lights go down. Even when your monuments were defaced, even when your tomb was robbed, even when your mummy was boxed up. Now check out Mummies, the exhibition, or keep questioning, keep learning, and keep the past alive.